See, this is what I like, better than that. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah. I mean, I do have a teacher voice, but I use it. All right, so we're going to start our open mic. I do time it, and at 4-minute mark, I'm going to do that to let you know there is 1 minute left. And if you go over that 1 minute, I will turn you into something. I don't know. I'm feeling very goddess-like. I don't know. Yeah, newts. Is that what goddesses do? We turn you into newts. All right. So starting off our open mic is Ellen Braverman.
I am the Jew. Wait, don't start.
You're not the only Jew.
I am the Jew. I see before me burning buildings, synagogues, bookstores, and homes. Into the night I run, yelling for them to stop, but they don't listen. I am the Jew. In my nightgown, I gather up a few of my precious books as they laugh, but I pay no attention to them, nor to the blazing fires, nor to the blows across my head. I am the Jew. Finally, I feel a book and silently tuck it into my nightgown, fold, and quietly creep away on all fours, hoping no one sees me. I am the Jew. I see before me burning shuls and synagogues filled with praying Jews. I can feel the hotness of the angry fire as my father's hands find mine, and mine's find my friends, and my friends find I am the Jew. I see before me Jews who hid behind someone else's cross, Jews who survived all the horrors only to later die of all the guilt. I am the Jew. I see before me the Jews of Babylon, 33,771, silently walking towards their open grave, trusting their God. I am the Jew. Mountains of bones, of burned flesh, of gas, men, women, and children, of empty holes. I am the Jew who shoveled this all into one neat pile. I am the Nazi who ordered the Jews to shovel all this into one neat pile. I am the Jew, and I am the Nazi that I see standing before me. The other one's called Celebration. He was sitting on the couch in his suit and tie, waiting for her. Candles had been lit, sending a soft, sweet light throughout the dark house. The house scrubbed inside and out. She came slowly down the hallway stairs, wearing her long black party dress, black heels, white stockings, and nothing else. They moved together to their table, filled up their wine glasses, and started eating. Against the backdrop of endless time, he read several poems from a small book, transporting them both. She was filled with wine, darkness, and his voice. He was speaking words that shimmered and twisted inside her soul, forcing her to relinquish her questioning mind. My turn, she softly said when his voice had stopped. Close your eyes, she whispered, while taking off her black party dress. Wearing only her stockings and black heels, she filled a pot of warm water. With her naked soul, she knelt in front of him and began to wash his feet. When she was finished, she gently dried them. Open your mouth, she murmured. Into his mouth, she put her tongue, tasting of sweet, dark chocolate delight. Slowly, bit by bit, she fed him and herself until there was only one left, and that was filet. The she-dragon. The she-dragon spits her liquid fire into the outer world no one notices except her husband. He knows her so well. After years of being together, he doesn't accept her nose, he just nods. Heads them up their stairs to their bedroom. He knows that she fears her own sexuality. The she-dragon hisses her liquid fire into his open mouth and all the way into his soul, past, present, and all of his futures. His body becomes her fire. She pulls back, too much pleasure, too hot. He is patient. He will take whatever she can give him, knowing that there will always be more. The she-dragon pours her flames into his heart, mending it, wanting to take him to a different place, but not really knowing the way, only dim remembrance of what was and what could be. The she-dragon spits out a fire into her own heart, unleashing her own demons, of fears and doubts, leaving no place to despise her heat. Can't wear red anymore. Volcanic eruptions, the earth is forced apart, leaving the she-dragon defenseless. The dancer dances on.
Next up, Sarah Gunn.
Maybe a couple more here. This one kind of continues the trend from earlier a little bit. Not the darkest of things I've written for sure, but still. This one I call Darkening Winds. From lofty heights I spin and turn, drifting ever lower on darkening winds. Light fading above me, sounds now so faint, the laughter, the fellowship, the warmth of embrace. Looping ever downward into gravity's strong arm, unable to resist it, unable to climb. Here I will lay in depths unknown, in infinite caverns, my inky black home. I saved that first. This one actually comes in the other similar vein. Barest chance. It is passed on from here, that great gray seething mass, raw power of electric sound, leaving hapless destruction behind. I look out upon this withered and broken land I once knew. I can barely find the scattered landmarks of a tortured youth. I breathe slowly, belabored, each one requiring its own special strength, a well tapping deeper than I had known. Tears would make sense now, yet they refuse to come, denying me the simple satisfaction, the survivor's last resort. I will overcome this, I can see. But it isn't as if I have the barest chance to decide to just not. To not is to yield to death itself. That's it.
Maria Clark.
It's not a continuation from earlier. Didn't exactly come prepared for this one, but there's a piece that I've written titled My Heaven, and there are no pedophiles. I don't want to go to heaven after I die. I'm too curious, too restless. In this life where I work and work for a goal attainable in this lifetime and the next, I want to travel, to live a life that cannot be lived, bound to a body of flesh and bones. I want to live through the planet's lifetime and watch it reset over and over and over again. I want to ride on the backs of the sea monsters we will never know and swim across the sky with the birds of prey that are now dust and sand. In my heaven, I will have lives to live like changes of clothes, no dimension or state of existence beyond my reach, and my entity and spirit will be everything I ever wanted and didn't know I could be. I will be the demon of my dreams and the angel of my nightmares. I will leave the souls of the dead. I will take the lives of the living. And when the time comes for them to ask me, who am I will say I was once you. My spirit will go from life to life, being to being. I will be free to roam and to wander and explore the furthest corner of the universe and the deepest, most secret parts of the worlds that I will tread. When I die, I want to live everything that I ever wrote. I want to be the powerful demon, the madman that commits suicide. I want to embody the tragedy, the joy, the passion, and the fire of everything that has ever left my fingertips and taken shape on ink and paper, taken the curves of the words and become a reality in the eyes of those that read them. I want to live everything I've ever wanted and understand all the questions I've never had the time to ask. In my heaven, there will be others. I will find the soul tied to mine. We will go off for the rest of our eternity. And if our spirits are to disappear like our bodies, and if at the end of those lives to live will be nothing, and our final moment of expiration will come, we will love every moment leading to eternal silence before we cease to exist and our spirits turn thin as the air we will not need. If our souls and spirits also have a timer, we are set to expire and never return to this planet, this life, or the next, or ever after. I will spend my existence in the short eternity I have with the soul fates have chosen for me, with the one tied to my soul, and I will be with him. And when our oblivion comes and we face our fading existence together. My heaven is a world like ours that defies the laws and limitations set there. My heaven is not perfect, I don't think. My heaven might also have an end, and I think that is okay, because after living every life I could possibly live with the one that I love, what else do I have to do but rest?
All right, Allyson.
So I've been writing sort of a series of poems that all have start with the phrase "still life" in the title, and as one of my professors pointed out, there's not a lot of stillness in these poems. That's called poetic license. So I'll read two of the super new ones. This first one is set out in Big Thicket. It's called "Still Life with Chorus of Frogs." We arrived too late for sunset. No matter, the ancient pines block the view of every horizon, so tall they almost cover the stars. He builds fire amidst darkness, grills steaks by the light of flame. When he asks for salt, I barely hear. And this second one is set over on the east side, and it is called "Still Life with Great Horned Owls." Between journeys we walk through my neighborhood, ears waiting for the echoing who, claiming the evening's territory, the space the mated pair tests before nesting. Tonight, Mexican sycamore, the dead branches up top, their buff markings barely visible against the dusk. Only their white throats shine, only the ear tufts stand out against nightfall. We walk into a neighbor's empty driveway for a closer look. The owls turn their heads, then turn back as though they didn't notice us. 2 weeks until we board separate planes bound for separate countries. Despite how much I love even the asphalt I stand on, I've given up hope on territory. I cannot buy a plot. I cannot own land any more than I can claim the hand wrapped around mine, the heartbeat I listen for, the way I listen for the owl's song.
Nori.
Back.
Good to see you, Brian. Okay, I've got a short one for y'all today, but this one has to do with living with anxiety and how that can often make you feel like two or more than that people living in one body. So it's called Glass Doll.
What?
Glass Doll. Yeah. Glass doll sits in a snowstorm, camouflage so careless, feet may crush hem of china dress. She stands, sees, waits through the storm. Glass doll sits in a cupboard, locked away, forgotten, whispers to cobwebs, rocks baby spiders to sleep. Her little glass bones dance if she's brought into the light, fingered and fondled, cracked and locked back. Glass doll sits in an antique shop window, emitting little blessings to the people in the street. Some with neon lights look away, others walking on 3 legs stare, bathe in comfort she sends through the pain. Still others in fur and suits hurry past, look away, and she is left day after day, face caked with dust of ages, but her eyes are alive, laugh and cry. And one morning, the stars prepare for bed, blue paint streak rise in east, dust dissolves, pain shatters, cupboard door flies open, snow quiet, she stands, a little glass legs shatter, reveal the amaranth beneath. That's all I got, thanks.
Brian.
Brian! Thom!
No, I got Mason. Where is he? Where? 3 of you.
So on the 5-minute break, I was outside smoking. I was thinking about the other me. And I realized, I started going through the number of nicknames that I've had. Doc, Rock, Rocky, Rambo, Johnny Grosz, Cockroach, Dingo, Brooklyn, Beezus. And I was like, God, I've had a lot of names. I've always been the same guy. So this is a piece that I did for, it was a show called 60 and 60. It was 60 readers, everybody gets 1 minute a pop, or less. So, here we go. Fuck, 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 fuck! He's gonna do it again. He's gonna take the lotion from the basket and rub it on the skin after he places me in the leather chair. He's gonna poke and prod me. He will enter me against my will. I will bleed and it will be agony, but I will refuse to show weakness. I will not cry out. I will take it with clenched fists that do not swing at my attacker because he thrives on torture. Because I will heal. I will be whole again at some point. Different, but at least alive. That ransom needs to be paid in order for my release so I can escape from his cage. Yep. That's a diary entry from my skin shortly before I went in for my last tattoo session. That's all.
All right. Oh.
Okay, this is a continuation from my experience in Teotihuacan, and this is one series of kind of rituals that we went through one day. And so like different stations. Labyrinth. I'm apprehensive as we crawl into the cave, cool and dark. A stark contrast to the bright heat of the dusty Mexican summer outside. The curtain swishes closed and there's silence. Just the breathing of strangers like pulsing spiders on the walls. Women I didn't know just a few days ago. Our challenge? Pure emotion. No stories, no spinning. Just let the feelings flow through us without holding on to them. Spontaneous chanting starts like a low hum vibrating somewhere deep in my core. Some are singing, one woman lies plastered flat on the dirt floor, and I'm aware that tears are streaming down my cheeks as my gut-wrenching sorrow envelops me like delicate fingers. I've seen this look in my eyes before. Somehow the darkness reflects it back to me like a mirror. Loss. An emptiness in my belly I've learned to ignore swells outward until I feel I might burst. My skin pulls tight like the rubber on an inflated balloon, like stretch marks. And I realize I'm back in Angelito's country. Though his tiny body is buried under an adobe floor high in the mountains of Oaxaca, his spirit can still find me here. It permeates my whole being. I'm not done grieving. I can hear my own hollow voice crying out, "Why did you take my baby boy from me?" The intensity of my plea startles me. But before I can succumb to the familiar tug of heartache, I hear a calm voice. Story. Stay in the sensation. Where is it in your body? Let it pass. Don't cling. Then it rushes like water, washing over me from a deep underground spring, fresh and clean peace. My legs spread, knees high, palms open, head tilted back on the cool earth of the wall, holding me, ready to give birth. The bell sounds and we tumble out into this abrupt glare of sunlight, pour ourselves into a labyrinth carefully designed with stones and crystals, stumble upon carved faces looking up at us along our path, pick our way past anthills and wandering turkeys. One by one, we make our way, lost in our separate worlds. Now we get to let the stories unfold. Follow the unwinding threads. I'm not worthy to be a mother. I failed my son. If I blink, let down my guard, mess up in any way, I might lose my children now. Fear. I was being punished for leaving my spiritual path. I cut myself off from my source. A creative miscarriage? That's how this is related. My writing. This is how we keep ourselves from flying. It's such an old story. I can't believe I've fallen for it. Samsara smoke. Take away our stories, take away our power. This is why I must write. Give us back our voices, anger. Why have you been complicit in keeping yourself subjugated, subdued, submissive? Pause, wait. That's another story. You're still beating yourself up, judging, tearing yourself down. Compassion. This goes deeper than you. This is a long, deep history of denigration. My heritage ripped from me. A systematic gendercide. Stop the cycle. Retell the story. Pick up the pen. Let Eve off the hook. She's been a scapegoat long enough. I am the earth in which you bury your seed. My breast nourishes the young. You take and don't replenish. I grow tired and listless in your depleted soil. It is time to gather my strength, call in my power, feel the ground tremble, sky slice open. It is time to reclaim my sisters, my daughter, my mother. Feed the earth with our laughter as well as our tears. Hand in hand we grow strong, dance barefoot around the fire. Match its energy so we can walk across hot coals unscathed. Relish the soothing cool of the wet grass. We're coming home. Now, for clarity. Truth at the feet of Guadalupe. Integration. You must know pain to truly know love. Must be broken to be healed. None of this was a mistake. You were being molded exactly as planned. Each spiral, each revelation, just closer to the center. There are no detours, just training. I can feel the energy swirling up from the earth, rejoicing as prodigal daughters return to their rightful place in the sun. Last stop, set your intent. I write let go on the wooden shaft of an arrow, and again on a block of thick wood. Hesitantly, point the sharp end of the arrow at the soft indentation of my throat. Shaking, I look for reassurance in my own written words on the block, and then lock my sight in the blazing determination of my new Teo sister's eyes. They gather around me, giving me strength. I lean into my intention. From deep in my core, my whole being cries out, let go! And I hear the arrow snap as I fall into the arms of a new me.
Mackenzie. See, you didn't recognize him as somebody who didn't say, Mommy!
That's exactly what it was. If I'd have yelled Thom, I'd have been right up here. I have been gone for a very long time. Teresa is a dear friend of mine, but I had a baby, and then everything changed. So the other me seems very, very, very poignant right now. But that's not what I wrote about, strangely enough. So this is more of an ode to the transition in my life from being in a very Afrocentric Caribbean culture to marrying my German-Danish husband. The name of this is called Lemon Poppy Seed. He spoke in a manner that made my bones shudder. Not to my ears, but to some part deeper inside of me, unsatiated, restless, and untethered. His words were mahogany and earth, pulling me closer to him, drawing me back down to the ground where my roots lay, carelessly strewn about. He smelled of frankincense and history and the very clay that molded me. Just his gaze made me want to put vanilla and jasmine in my hair, put fragrant oils on my sternum. He wanted to devour me, and I in turn grew to fill his appetite. But he was both mired in the struggle and yet not ready to fight, not for me. And so I let it be, and then I let it be, and then I let it be 3 times. Now he's already gone and I'm still trying to hold on. But then I heard a voice so sweet I grabbed the box to check the recipe. I had to make sure he hadn't gotten the mixture wrong, my lemon poppy seed. He smelled like mint and hard to pronounce wine. I smelled like war in the passage of time. He hoists me up from above, kicking and screaming a save me kind of love. He was the static in the air, electric, impulsive, lofty. I felt energized, invigorated, inspired, lightweight. There was a carefree nonchalance to the life up here where the air is thinner and even my cares were a size 4. He put sugar on his lips before he kissed me, and now I realized that he knew he must, because he knew he kept me cool, kept me dry, never clay, only dust. He made me weary, my lemon poppy seed, a deep, pervasive tiredness as he loved me to sleep in his arms. He offered rest without relaxation. And I would wake screaming, "We can't breathe!" And he would swing wildly in the air, fighting my demons for me. And he would get up and he would dutifully check the locks on the doors, both of us knowing it would take much more. And he asks, "Where did you learn to fight like that? To win like that? To be right like that?" And so he set about erecting a fortress of his privilege, putting distance and space between my mission and what's best for me. And I came to resent the high walls that he built around me, the thick arms he wrapped around me, because he was taught never to squeeze too tight. So there was still plenty of room for them to climb inside. Even when we were together, there was still no place to hide. "Let me love you better," he said with his stride. "But you dull my blade and you dim my shine and you extinguish my flame in your forest that never catches fire. And you worry because I grow weaker and weaker despite the remedy. You've changed my coastline with your waves of devotion, and I still tremble with the dawn. Now I'm greeted with basil leaves and pomegranate seeds, leisure time and altruistic deeds. And I grew smaller, and my appetite grows smaller, because where there is no lack, there is no lust. But still, we have each other. And although sometimes we can't find each other by the light of that optimistic glow, which is starting to fade now that the batteries are running low, generic because we don't like labels. And at times, when he can see, he finds me on my knees, peering through the cracks in the floorboard, trying desperately to catch a whiff of the earth below. I listen, straining to hear the songs I used to sing when my time didn't stand still. And it's there, a still small voice saying, "We need you down here."
All right, Lynn. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I wasn't prepared to get up and do anything. I'm the new kid on this block. I was just going to listen. But as everybody talked, I began to get the hang of what they meant by the other me. And I thought about a dream I had, I don't know, some years ago, less than 20 years ago, I'm sure, some time or other. I dreamed that I was in some kind of small spiritual group, a little group in some apartment, all sitting around on the floor meditating or something. And somebody came from a whole other planet and invited us to come and investigate it. When we got there, we found that each of us had a duplicate. Somebody that at least looked just like us. And my duplicate wasn't into the same things that I am. Wasn't a poet or a writer of any kind, at least not one that amounted to anything. Wasn't a successful writer or singer or songwriter or any things that I want to be. She was strictly a spiritual leader. Now in real life, I'm somewhere along the line, so I have nothing to read from. I'm just winging it. I finally caught on to the fact that I'm just not cut out to be a spiritual leader in this lifetime, because I'm still too much a spiritual seeker, a spiritual searcher in real life. But that was what my double was into. She was strictly a spiritual leader of some kind. And look
all of a sudden this name whoosh out of my brain. Hey, that rhymes almost. Anyway, Luke Skywalker was in our little group back on Earth. And his double was there and had an orange tunic on, and they met on adjoining little mountain peaks and talked to each other from there. And his double's name was Luke Sky Dancer. And later I found out Luke Sky Dreamer, and I didn't know why. But I found that out because I asked somewhere along the line, F was like this, effort. Effort was so effortless. Oh, excuse me, teeth. What I'm trying to say is that accomplishment, achievement was somehow so effortless in this other world. And finally I asked them, they're inviting us all, I guess, to stay and be a part of it. But I asked them, what's the catch? And they had to tell us. They had to tell me. You had to leave your body. You had that's why everything was so effortless, because it wasn't physical. You didn't have to move physical matter to accomplish things in this other place. And our bodies were already down in this ravine. I guess it could have already started to rot. So anyway, I didn't want that. So I begged them to put me back into my body. Oh, nothing like it. What do I want to say? Interrupting myself in mid-sentence. But they called our world the madman's world, because they thought it was just silly to live like us, where nothing could be done except by moving physical matter, where it was such an effort to do anything. They thought that was really foolish to live like that. So
I'm sorry, Lynn, time's up.
Pardon?
Maybe you couldn't hear, but the timer is
Oh,
up.
well, could I, I didn't realize there was a timer. I talk like this. Can I just finish one sentence?
Yes, ma'am.
Just to wind it up. And that is, I asked to be put back into my body and return to the madman's world. And they did. And it was such a relief when I woke up to be back in this physical body, back in our madman's world.
Juliette.
Okay, so my piece is basically a poem that one of the characters that I'm writing about in a book, her name is Audachay, and she finds this letter from her alter ego, and her name is Zelda. So here you go. Dear Audachay, don't be ashamed. You are not to be blamed. Oh, elemental gold goddess, how your frame is so flawless. There is no reason to be modest. Reveal yourself as promised. In this season, it is hard to differentiate who you are and then what you create. In your mind is where you often dwell. Don't you hear the piercing cry of your fairy tale? Now it seems strenuous to tune. I am here as constant as the moon. You will have these thoughts, reoccurring snapshots. I don't want to leave you alone. I simply can't.
I am the other me, the unconscious free. My birth was yours, so why the constant wars? I have been lingering on like the hurrying hymn. Feel me, your phantom limb. Denied and uninvited, yet you always extend the invitation. And then I create your sensual ocean, desires swirling in the constant wind. The intensity and passion I have to lend. You hear my gentle whisper, but your temptations turn to a twister. I'll call you regardless, a beautiful chaotic mess. It resounds through the universe, so loudly yet you refuse to hear. You feel my presence as I'm always near. Don't you see who you are? You bottle me up as if you could be contained in a jar. Don't foster your dreams for self. These frustrations only make you yell. There isn't just one other you. There isn't just one other me. See, this is the unconscious free. Open your mind to something new, a whole new world, a part of you. You may or may not want to be, but allowing this is the absolute key. Oh, the dimensions of you. I initiate and then you do. Much more than just physical, spiritual, and mental. Scared of those who are so judgmental. A scared little child yearning to be wild. Grown and mature now, the universe slowly takes its bow. Deep, passionate lover, help these stars see what I've discovered. Find the authentic self. Lose yourself, the other me, the unconscious free. So many things make us all up to who we are, and we think it's not enough. Does it feel like it's just us? Answer me, it must. I'll sing you a lullaby, stop your worries and your cry. Stay the night and try with all my might to fulfill fulfill and meet your needs. Water your seeds, your mind wanders and I lead. Patent our dreams, it doesn't feel real as it seems. Characteristic manifestation, society's domestication, our internal war. Just open the door. This is your double life. You live your life with such strife. I beg for you to be free. Listen to me. Stop being held down, wearing your smile over your frown. You can't see you're in prison and made this division. Impossible to merge. You are on the verge, so just let it go. I am the only one to know. You suffer from it. Stop with this silly skit. Deprived of any culture, you still feed life's vulture. Yearning for an exotic experience, here I offer my deliverance. I didn't choose this. My skin, my hair, my voice, my shape. At some point, we all just want to escape. So I live inside as another, not as a mother. Some recognize this familiar soul, while others think it's completely whole. How is it possible to acclimate with so much to encapsulate? Why would one want to be another, to feel, to give, to understand? I'm not who you see, a nurse, a mother, a sister, a daughter, a friend, a helpmate, encased in this society, causing all this anxiety. The other me, the unconscious free, I want to be every color, be every kind of lover, speak every language, and feel the anguish, learn every religion, see the enormous vision. Why? To grow, to love, to show the world we all are one. The other me, the unconscious free.
And our third man for the day, Mason.
So this first poem is about how I struggled for several years with opioid abuse, and I was at my parents' house a couple months ago, and I opened up a closet looking for sunscreen, and I found a bottle of pill bottle. So my experience this couple of weeks, rattling oxycodone in my throat under the guise of getting sunscreen, only positioning mixing cylinders towards my lungs, ready to make a monument above my diaphragm. They aren't yet the dexterous hand seeking to fold my mouth and seal their new gift by stitching my lips. You'll know their intentions when they dig for needles and prepare their rig with spindle circuits taken from my cingulate cortex. Empathic maps removed. Now I'm unable to debate you. A part of me, or me consumed. You're tied from my knots and my cheeks to the bundles of nerves behind my eyes, so that each time my throat quakes to reappraise my escape, my corneas project a rotated scene of my stitched face staring solidly, unmoving, a pincushion with feet pressed into leaves, set to decay if I remain 3 feet from your face, but worlds from your words. I've been built too well, a wire frame filled with Roman brick, struggling to squirm when touched, and plagued with plegiatic nerves held into place by the singular scene keeping me warm, asleep, and willing to pose with you, a friendly encounter, synced in fading memory, a subdued perspective that used to guarantee my reality. My deconstructive distal separation and gasless landscape down which I fall, vaporizing naturally, but at least in suffocating awe and not forgotten breaths. And then this poem is about sleep paralysis, my other self while I try to escape sleep paralysis. I condense into a triangle and roll across the floor in search of a frame that fits my vertices where I can lie comfortably. Each clumsy bump progressively dulls my angles and increases my momentum, but also the likelihood that I may slip through my floorboards and crash into the residual moonlight that cuts shadows into shapes used for a mosaic of faces formed halfway into something recognizable. Only they just learn how to creep and consume small pockets of light stretched about my door. For this reason, I can't be the subject of my sleep, but rather a soporific sentinel perched atop my brow. The elevation I use to cast my eyes, as bobbers on line sunken through each confirmation that might give rise to a presence other than my own. Gently I teeter between my room and my dreams, awaiting the faces to leak through the floor and cause my eyes to vibrate. Maybe induce an REM through which I can escape the sensations of boulders toppling over my throat. But when my reticular traps break, I must huff into my walls and escape my torso, so that at least my lungs will be safe when their coarse lips wrap crooked around my limbs and their tongues spin my reference of reality into fodder for their new body. My corporeal outline is now scattered across the ceiling, indistinguishable from their tangled, wrinkled expressions. But my ribs can still crawl across the floor, cushioned by my last breaths, and they reach blindly for the light switch to reverse this paralysis, only to find my rasping lungs wedged between the cushions, unmoved, with no more control to prove that each awakening wasn't false. No carpet-burnt knees, and still no light indicates what I can't fathom. But unlike those faces coalesced into something doubtful but real, I'm phenomenally deceived. None of that terror struck my knees, but was rather a moment that my dreams leaked.
Now, Thom.
What? My other self is diabetic and has died twice. And what about the poem or the story?
Either. What do you feel like?
Well, you choose. I'm doing it for you. I've lived it.
Died twice.
Yeah, what? Story? Okay. During the punk poetry time, there was a fabulous poet called Nick Toszczyk. He's still around, and he does dragons now, dragon stories. But he hired us to do this poetry for the Bradford Arts Festival and promised us 40 quid plus our bus or train ticket from wherever he came from. So we thought, yeah, wonderful, let's do it. He was close friends with our close friends, John Cooper Clarke, who was famous for I Married the Monster from Outer Space and 10 Years in an Open Neck Shirt and Elementary Chicken Town, and Attila the Stockbroker. These are our friends. But we go to the place, we do the gig, and then 8 people have turned up, fewer than him. And he says, look, I want to give you the money, but we only made 40 quid all told. So we're poets, he's a poet, no problem, blow it off. But John Paul O'Neill, the London Slam guy. He said, "What, come all the way from London? I want my money, I want now." So Nick, being a generous soul, took it from his back pocket. He said, "This is my money." I said I'd do it, and here you are. So life is a very small cage, and we end up in the same animal habitats and relationships. So we were sleeping in the same billet that night, and I was on the floor and he was on the couch, and I started, having this diabetic coma, and I left my body. I was on the ceiling, looking down at my body, which is a beautiful experience. There's a stillness to it, which I'd never, I thought the moment would last forever, but somehow I wasn't allowed to go then. So I snapped back into this body, and he was terrified. Not for care of me, but because people had thought he'd murdered me. Second time when it happened was my friends were hippies and beautiful people, and they thought that having marijuana might cure me because I don't smoke. And so this is all true. And so they gave me this marijuana, and apparently I made jokes all night long. I was the funniest comedian that I never even heard a joke. But if anything justifies life, it's life itself. Love and art and people fade oblivious. Depths of waters conceal no hidden meaning than court affords, hollow and obvious, coloured by moods, lost in logic's glance. We kill close categories before we know it all. Why are we so imprisoned? Why are we so imprisoned? If images collide, knock against your walled life, if wings are clipped without your knowing, if reason fails for want of words, there seems no cure. Find what you know, return to it. More seems lost than is preserved. In your own rhythms, hold tight to those with whom you share your hopes. Because a poem is just a small bird, delicate as a coloured second. It flies like a kite, lives in your shadowed skin, dies when the light of day, sun, or words is cast upon to melt its meaning. We are, despite all, still alive. Joy in this above all things now. Can you sing with us? Can you sing?
Deconstructed goddess over here with this thing. Wow. It came to life. Usually fighting with my dreadlocks, but now it's got this artificial thing. But anyway, that's the end of our show. And our next one, let's see if I can say this correctly for the first time. Now, it's on my mother's birthday. Those of you who were here last September, you met my mom.
Yes.
And so I almost should call it Elma Robertson's, how old is she going to be? 77. 77th birthday. And 3 days before that, it's going to be my 47th birthday. That's how I remember her, was I'm 30 years after her. So the theme is old school soul food. Almost a tongue twister. So think about that and reconvene here on my mother's 77th birthday. So thank you. Enjoy the heat.